The focus of our hearing today is on the budget priorities of the Forest Service for fiscal year 2024. This is a continuation of the important work this committee has conducted this month as we review the budget requests of federal agencies under our purview. Despite the catastrophic wildfire crisis affecting the West, including the districts of many members on this dais, committee Democrats did not hold a single oversight hearing of the Forest Service's budget last Congress. We're pleased to have us before us today the Chief of the Forest Service, Randy Moore, who is appearing before our committee for this first time since he assumed this important role almost 2 years ago. Chief Moore, your appearance before this committee is long overdue, but with Republicans in the majority, I can assure you there will be many more invitations coming your way as we look to work with you to confront the myriad of challenges facing our nation's forests. As we begin our discussion today, I think it is important to dispel some of the rhetoric leveled against Republican budget proposals that seek to restore some fiscal sanity to our federal spending. Democrats on this committee have inaccurately alleged Republican proposals seek to decrease wildland fire management funding. This could not be further from the truth. Republicans have proposed securing funding at fiscal year 2022 spending levels. This is important because fiscal year 2022 wildfire funding for the Forest Service is actually $247 million higher than this fiscal year. When you include the Department of the Interior, Republicans would be giving the agencies an increase of more than $340 million compared to Democrats' fiscal year 2023 levels. Further, the Limit, Save, Grow Act, which we will be debating this week on the House floor, would extend the fire suppression cap adjustment past its current expiration date in 2027. This will ensure certainty for the agencies so they will not have to resort to fire borrowing. And let's not forget who set our current funding levels: congressional Democrats and the Biden administration. That's right, congressional Democrats cut wildfire appropriations this year by over $340 million. So when you hear a lot of talk today about draconian 22% cuts and the devastating effects they will have, perhaps you will ask yourself why congressional Democrats cut hazardous fuels appropriations for the Forest Service by 33% this year. This unfounded criticism does, however, highlight the flawed logic of assuming we can continue to throw money at this problem without meaningful regulatory reforms and expect any difference in our catastrophic wildfire crisis. The Forest Service's fiscal year 2024 budget is requesting $9.7 billion, a nearly 18% increase over FY 2023 enacted levels. The agency also received over $10 billion through the IIJA and Inflation Reduction Act. And yet, the Forest Service budget is only proposing an additional 400,000 acres treated this year, a mere 10% increase. We have repeatedly heard from the Forest Service there needs to be a paradigm shift, and the agency must double or quadruple the amount of acres it treats. A 10% increase in response to the deluge of funding this agency has received is not the paradigm shift the West needs. These results are hardly a surprise. No amount of money is going to overcome the fact that right now it takes an average of 3.6 years to even begin a mechanical treatment on our national forests due to burdensome NEPA regulations. Prescribed burns are even worse, taking an average of 4.7 years to complete NEPA. Democrats have stayed in lockstep with extreme environmentalist groups and refused to offer any substantive reforms to improve the management of our national forests. For the small reforms we are able to give the Forest Service, such as emergency authorities or categorical exclusions for fuel breaks, they are not being utilized by the agency at the pace and scale needed. Committee Republicans stand ready to fulfill our responsibility to the American people and usher in a new phase of accountability and transparency for the Forest Service as we pursue innovative solutions to reverse the tide against this historic crisis. Today's hearing is an important step on this front. I look forward to discussing the agency's plans to actively manage our forests, suppress wildfires promptly and carefully, pay wildland firefighters in a fiscally responsible manner, and increase timber production. I want to once again thank Chief Moore for being here today. We look forward to hearing your testimony. Before I recognize Ranking Member Neguse for his opening statement, I'd like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record a table from the Nonpartisan Congressional Research Service showing congressional Democrats in the Biden administration had the following budget cuts this year. $93.3 million decrease for Department of Interior wildfire appropriations, $247.2 million decrease for Forest Service wildfire appropriations, including a $155.4 million decrease for hazardous fuels reduction, $340.6 million decrease for overall Forest Service and Interior wildfire spending.